It's no wonder people are drawn to the beauty and charm of Australian Shepherds. But whether you're already an Aussie owner or considering bringing one into your home, there are some crucial things that you really need to know. Your well-meaning actions might unintentionally harm these sensitive dogs, and you may not even realize it until it's too late. As an Australian Shepherd owner myself, I've learned a few important lessons along the way. So let's dive into the top things you should never do to your Aussie, starting with the most obvious one first. Number 1. Never ignore their exercise needs. Australian Shepherds weren't just bred to be active. They were designed to be non-stop, all-day, high-octane herding machines. So if you think your Aussie will be satisfied with a quick stroll around the block, think again. In fact, these dogs need at least 2 solid hours of exercise every single day, and don't even think about skimping on the physical activity. Without this, it can lead to some pretty destructive behavior. Trust me, you don't want to come home to find your favorite shoes have suddenly turned into your Aussie's new chew toy. But hey, it's not all bad news. Keeping them active doesn't have to be a chore. For instance, my Aussie is absolutely obsessed with playing catch with his favorite ball. I'm pretty sure he could easily spend 2 hours chasing that ball if he wanted to, and all I have to do is stand there and toss it. It's like having a self-powered dog treadmill. However, don't think just hitting that 2-hour exercise quota is enough. These dogs need more than just physical activity to stay happy, which brings me to my next point. Number 2. Never get complacent with their exercise needs. Give them a job. Wait, you mean there's more to keeping an Aussie happy than just regular exercise? You bet there is. To truly keep an Australian Shepherd content, you've got to give them a job. These dogs were bred to work, and they're not satisfied with just a couple of laps around the park. They need a sense of purpose, preferably one that involves physical activity. Back in the day, it was simple. Their job was herding livestock, running circles around them to keep them in line. But unless you've got a flock of sheep in your backyard, you'll need to get creative. Take my Aussie, for example. He's convinced that catching the ball is his job. And let me tell you, he takes that job very seriously. But it doesn't have to be something as straightforward as playing fetch. For example, one Aussie owner shared, "My dog picks up things I drop, whether I meant to drop them or not. TV remotes, keys, phone, even a rogue poop bag that flew out of my pocket. He'll pick it up and hand it back to me like, 'You dropped this, boss.'" Each Australian Shepherd will naturally find a job that suits them, no matter how quirky it might seem. When you notice them showing interest in a particular task, lean into it. Encourage them, even if it's something as bizarre as being your personal butler. But whatever you do, just don't be like this guy. Number 3. Never ignore your Aussie's mental stimulation. Like most herding dogs, Australian Shepherds are seriously smart. Sometimes a little too smart for their own good. But here's the catch. Having a brainy dog isn't always a walk in the park. The smarter the dog, the more they crave mental challenges. If you don't keep their minds busy, they'll find their own ways to stay entertained. And trust me, you're not going to like their choices. Back on the farm, herding was the perfect mental workout. It's like a strategic game for them, figuring out the right speed, angle, and stealth to guide sheep in just the right direction. It's brain work and exercise rolled into one. But what about those of us who don't have sheep grazing in the backyard? No worries. There are plenty of ways to keep your Aussie's mind sharp. For example, you could take them to agility courses where they can burn energy and think on their feet. You could also make a game of hide and seek with their favorite treats, like a treasure hunt they'll never get tired of. Even simple things like advanced obedience training, puzzle toys, or letting them explore a new walking path can work wonders. The key is to keep their brains engaged with something. After all, mental exercise is just as crucial as physical activity for these clever canines. Number 4. Never try to push them away. Now, I don't mean physically pushing them away, but let's talk about something crucial. Australian Shepherds are the ultimate Velcro dogs. These pups want to be by your side every second of the day, sticking to you like a furry little shadow. In fact, one Aussie owner nailed it saying, you'll have a pathological stalker and you'll never use the restroom alone ever again. The term Velcro dog doesn't even come close to describing what these guys can be like. If you're someone who values your privacy and independence, you might find yourself instinctively trying to create some space away from your dog. But be careful. Australian Shepherds are incredibly sensitive dogs. They have big feelings, and if they sense that you're not giving them the attention or love they crave, it can really bring them down. These dogs would spend every waking moment with you if they could, simply because that's who they are. So instead of trying to push them away, embrace their need for closeness. After all, having a loyal companion who's always by your side isn't the worst thing in the world. And if that sounds terrible to you, why are you even getting a dog? Number 5. Never underestimate their herding instincts. Australian Shepherds are herding dogs to their core, and those instincts don't just vanish because they're living the suburban life now. If you underestimate their herding drive, you might find your Aussie rounding up anything that moves: kids, other pets, and even the occasional unsuspecting jogger. Sure, a puppy Aussie nipping at the heels of some kids might seem cute and harmless at first, but if you don't curb this habit early on, it could turn into something more serious down the road. Now, I'm not saying you should try to suppress their herding instinct completely. That's just not realistic. These dogs are born to herd, and it's a big part of who they are. And while their herding behavior can be impressive, it can also be a little bit overwhelming if you're not prepared. That's why it's so important to provide them with proper outlets to channel this natural behavior. Activities like agility training, obedience work, or even organized herding events can help satisfy their need to herd without them taking over your household. The key isn't to ignore or punish this behavior, but to embrace and manage it. With the right guidance, their herding instincts can be a fun and rewarding part of life with an Aussie. So don't be too harsh on them. In their eyes, everything, and I mean everything, is herdable. Number 6. Never leave them alone for long periods. If you are a busy bee or prefer the lazy life, an Australian Shepherd might just be your worst nightmare. Leaving them alone for long stretches at a time means they're missing out on crucial daily exercise and mental stimulation. But it's not just about burning off energy. They're also missing out on the human interaction and attention they crave so much. Remember, Aussies were bred as herding dogs, spending a large portion of their days working closely with their human handlers. So it's no surprise that they form deep bonds with their people. They're incredibly social dogs who thrive on companionship, and without it, they can quickly become stressed and develop separation anxiety. Now, I'm not saying you can never leave them alone. Let's face it, life happens. Leaving them for 4 to 6 hours occasionally is probably okay, but try not to make it a regular thing or stretch it much longer than that. However, if your schedule means leaving them alone for extended periods is unavoidable, you might want to consider a different breed. Aussies need your time and attention, and if they don't get it, they'll let you know, loudly and destructively. Number 7. Never skip regular grooming. Australian Shepherds may look like they're ready to hit the runway with their gorgeous coats, but that beauty comes with a price: regular grooming. These dogs have a double coat that can quickly become a tangled mess if neglected. That said, skipping out on grooming isn't just a bad hair day waiting to happen. It can lead to matting, skin problems, and a very uncomfortable Aussie. So what exactly is regular grooming with these dogs? First off, you'll need to brush them a few times a week, which helps keep their coat in top condition and reduces shedding around your house. Though let's be honest, you'll still find hair everywhere. And don't forget those regular baths. While Aussies aren't exactly known for their love of water, keeping them clean is essential. Neglecting their grooming needs can make them look like a shaggy, matted mess. And worse, it can make them feel miserable. So make grooming a part of your routine, and your Aussie will not only look fantastic, but also feel great. Number 8. Never ignore their health needs. Australian Shepherds are generally healthy dogs, but that doesn't mean you can slack on their health care. Ignoring their health needs is a big no-no if you want your Aussie to live a long, happy life. These dogs are prone to certain genetic conditions like hip dysplasia, joint problems, epilepsy, and eye problems, so regular vet checkups are crucial. Skipping those visits can lead to undetected issues that might become serious if left untreated. It's much easier to manage or prevent health problems when you catch them early. But healthcare isn't just about vet visits. Aussies need a well-balanced diet, regular exercise, and proper grooming to keep them in top shape. Pay attention to any changes in their behavior, appetite, or energy levels. These could be signs that something's not quite right. And don't forget about their dental health. Brushing their teeth regularly and providing dental chews can prevent issues like gum disease, which can lead to more serious health problems down the line. Taking care of your Aussie's health needs might require a bit of effort, but it's well worth it. That said, a healthy Aussie is a happy Aussie. Hey, if you enjoyed this, you'll probably love this video here. And if you hit subscribe, I'll donate a meal to a rescue dog on your behalf.